All I hope for the future with my kids is that they want to hang out with me when they're grown-ups. And that's all I'm trying to ever do, is create an environment where that will happen, a strong and healthy family. But how do you do it? Sharing experiences and doing things together is a start. Have a look at this.
What should we do next?
Sit down.
Where are we going to sit down?
The ground. Here, this is good. Right here. Oh.
Are you okay, Dad?
No, I'm not okay. I hate to say this, but these rides are killing me.
But you're the king of roller coasters.
I know. One of my favorite things in the world is doing stupid fun stuff with you. Like pogo stick basketball or trying to get a swing to go all the way around.
Next time we should sit on a fire extinguisher.
Yeah, you probably should. You don't have to sit on fire extinguishers, but parenting expert Michael Gross has some other ideas to strengthen the health of the family unit. Good morning, Michael. Good. How do we start? How do we start when they're little, or maybe even not so little, to create a bond that will last for our lifetimes?
Yeah, a lot of it's about doing things with kids, not for kids. So we're pretty good at doing things for kids. But age-old parenting is always about doing things with your kids. So, you know, it is about being involved. Not too sure about pogo sticks and all that sort of stuff. But we know the stuff of relationships is always about one-on-one time and doing things together. And as we get busy, we sometimes forget that and we sort of palm that off. But in some ways, it's sort of going back and taking the lead from your kids.
Okay, and seeing what they're into.
Yeah, kids, particularly young kids, want to be very active, and we know that the older the kids are, the less active they become. And so in some ways, as your kids move into primary school and even into secondary school, if you want to have relationships with kids, you need to be a little bit more proactive. And I call it shoulder-to-shoulder parenting, because the best relationships and often the best conversations happen when you've got someone sitting or moving next to you. So if you want to get your kids, I
was just going to say, I've read that if they're troubled, if something is happening in their lives that you really wish you knew about, asking them straight out is often ineffective. But sitting with them, watching telly or doing something together and getting just a conversation going, it will come out. It's much more likely to come out.
Yeah, I've always believed if you want your kids to talk, you've got to move. So talking and moving happens, particularly with boys. So sometimes it's getting them up and walking, getting them up and doing something outside, and suddenly the conversation will just sort of spurt out and this stuff will spurt out. So sometimes you've got to create those conditions where they'll talk.
And also, do you think that actually having a dinner together or a lunch together is really important, you know, without the telly in the background, sitting down together and actually being able to, okay, how was your day, how was your day, how was your day sort of stuff? Does that actually work? I know it's not active, but it's still something that you actually put time together with?
Yeah, I call it the power of the kitchen table. The best conversations happen around the kitchen table.
Absolutely.
And often location carries memory, so sometimes the family memory sort of sits around the kitchen table. So, and also, if you want to, I believe strong families have a very strong food culture. So, you know, you build your actual families around food, and that actually involves your kids actually in the cooking of it as well.
Then you've got to exercise it off. So. That's your other theory.
Can we talk about the strengths of what makes a family resilient and healthy? You've talked about that if a family's healthy, all the individuals are healthy, the family's healthy, and that particularly families need to show resilience, because life's never going to be this perfect graph. It's always going to have ups and downs.
Yeah, there's been a lot of work done over the years on looking at family strengths and looking at different cultures, and there's a number of different attributes which strong families have. One of the strongest attributes is the fact that they do stuff together. It doesn't have to be a very formal sense. It's actually they enjoy each other's company, and often that's parents insisting that kids actually have to do something with your brother or do something with your sister. So that's a strong attribute. And the other one is actually sharing activities and doing things together, not just talking together, but also doing things together.
And what about affection? How important is affection?
That's huge. We show affection in different ways. There's nothing wrong with hugging. There's no side effects to hugging. So
sometimes I've caught nits from hugs.
There are times when you actually can, you know, sort of. But affection is really important. It's often something we don't talk about when we talk about parenting. We talk about management and organising and all this sort of stuff. Sometimes we forget the basic sort of stuff is affection, and we show that in all sorts of ways.
And I think one thing that I was reading about all of the strengths is that to show commitment to family members when the times get tough, the loyalty, it's not about judging and it's not about putting people in the outer. It's, you're part of my family, okay, you might have done the wrong thing, but I love you and I'm loyal to you and we'll get through this.
Yeah, and that's, I guess we call that unconditional love, and I see that as that notion of accepting kids who may be a little bit different. Sometimes we all want our kids to fit a particular mould, and we'll always get shouldn't say always, often families will get a child who's a square peg in a round hole, and sometimes it's quite hard to accept those. So that sort of notion of commitment and acceptance is actually accepting all the differences within families, and it can be a bit tough as kids get older. And that notion of commitment's a really important one. It's where sometimes I hear parents saying, I'm doing it for the kids, but you need to be home, doing things. So that commitment is really starting to make decisions in the best interest of your kids, which is sometimes a test for parents when we have competing demands.
Yeah.
Now, can we talk about Swap It, Don't Stop It? It's a government campaign that I really like. Can you explain some of the messages of the campaign?
Yeah, look, it's a healthy lifestyle campaign, and it's looking at a couple of things. It's looking at better food choices. There we go. It's better food choices and also exercise.
Okay, so he's trying to... he's getting a bit bigger there.
So this is about, I think, Michael, the idea of this is not to say you're not allowed to eat ice cream. It's about saying you can have ice cream, but just maybe swap it for a smaller portion.
Look, it's a great behavioural change message, rather than just going, no, we're not going to do that anymore. You're losing it. It's a matter of evolutionary change. So yeah, it's little swaps, it's little tweaks. And I found personally that's how I got fit many years ago, not by sort of running marathons, was actually starting to, instead of driving to work, walking to work and making those small changes. And so that's what the Swap It campaign's about. It's about encouraging adults and also with their kids and parents to actually maybe, instead of driving to school, walking to school instead of...
Swap the TV for going outside.
Yeah, I know with my kids actually, it used to be just, go outside, leave the TV. Now it's leave the TV, leave the Xbox, leave a whole bunch of stuff and go outside. Yeah, it's just those small tweaks. And small tweaks make big changes.
Oh, what a beautiful note to end it on. I love that as an overall philosophy. Small tweaks make big changes. Please thank Michael Groves. For more information about Swap It, go to the Circle's website. It's all there. And there's plenty more coming up this morning. We'll see you after this.